For more on this, we speak to activist Dr. Fatima Hendricks, who is on the Global Sumud Flotilla, who will be docking from Tunis. Dr. Hendricks, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Why is it so important for you to be able to be a part of this? There's a great deal of risk that comes along with this. One, of course, there's the risk of being at sea for days on end, but more importantly, the risk of the threat by the Israeli military. Despite all of that, you and many others chose to participate in this. Talk us through why it's so important for you.
Thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you for having me. It's really important that we understand that this is actually a mass disabling event, a mass disabling crime that is being committed during this genocide. So I'm a healthcare practitioner, and what we find is that over 1,400 healthcare personnel have been killed. Hospitals have been decimated. We have the highest number of amputees in modern history, and the effects of the trauma that is being experienced is beyond what we've seen in recent history, as this genocide is being live streamed to our homes. So it's really, what we've seen is a galvanization of people from across the spectrum of beliefs, ideologies, and really artists and actors and healthcare professionals and humanitarians right across the board in this grassroots coalition to break the siege of Gaza and to bring humanitarian aid to the people in Gaza.
Yeah. Now, the Israeli defense minister has made threats like declaring those who are participating in the flotilla as terrorists. And of course, we've seen with previous attempts to reach Gaza by sea to bring humanitarian aid to the people of Palestine, we've seen attempts by the Israeli government to strike some of those at sea, despite the fact that the United Nations had said that it's a perfectly legal exercise, and any attempt at attempting to block it or intercede it is a crime, a war crime in and of itself, and of course trespassing international waters regulations. Is there any fear in your mind that the Israeli government and the IDF could potentially militarily strike the flotilla?
Look, there's very many scenarios. The flotilla movement began in 2006, and there have been, I think this might be the 38th flotilla that is actually attempting to break the siege and reach the shores of Gaza. That just illustrates the level of determination that people have had over decades to end the siege in Gaza. So the scenarios have played out over history. We've had, interceptions, we've had activists that were killed, and so we're well aware of some of the potentialities and the risks involved. I think the key question here is not so much about the extent of the risk, but it is about why is there this risk when what we are doing is absolutely legal, it is moral, it is based on protections of freedom of passage, of protection for volunteers, and so that remains the fundamental question. The Global Sumud Flotilla is aptly named Sumud because it means steadfastness in Arabic. And so what we have seen is that this is a global movement that will not give up until there's an end in the siege of Gaza and a humanitarian sea corridor is opened up to the beautiful people in Palestine.
Yeah, we know that humanitarian aid is being taken there by those who are on the flotilla. And of course, there's a shortage of not just food and water, but medicine shortages, fuel shortages, and the likes. Is there specific things that your flotilla, in particular, the one that you're docking, will be taking? You mentioned that you're a medical professional. I would presume that you're not taking stuff there, but you're also taking the gift of your service to those who desperately need it.
I'm an occupational therapist by profession, so I'm a doctor of occupational therapy. All of the boats are loaded with humanitarian supplies. So we're taking baby formula, medical supplies, and it is about opening up a sustainable corridor. This is not a once-off event. So it's really about making sure that we get a sustainable humanitarian sea corridor of aid to the Gaza shores, so that we are able to have future missions and to break the siege in a way that can be sustainable for the vulnerable people in Gaza.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there. Dr. Fatima Hendricks, thank you so much for your time and all the best. Dr. Fatima Hendricks, one of the activists there participating in the Global Sumud Flotilla.